And let me just make sure that this is actually working on my laptop, just to make sure that it is coming up live. There's like a lot of shit that I need to connect here. There we go. All right, cool. Um, did you reconsider? Actually working. Oh, beautiful. The sound is working. Okay. Did you reconsider? You said that I can ask you anything. Like, I feel like I don't have any crazy controversial questions to ask you, but you know, just wanted to
Let's
make sure.
let's do it.
I noticed that you told me that you were gonna, I grabbed a beer. I thought that you were gonna grab a smoke, so I don't
Oh,
know.
wait it. Hold up, hold up, hold up.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
twice. Hold on. I'll just get some work done. All right. 1 second.
Okay, cool. This is gonna be good for anybody who is watching this. Um this cat is a great photographer. We're both from Philly, and
Yeah,
I feel like our style, um like in the Venn diagram, it's like it's in a similar area, you know.
sure.
Um but So if anybody ends up watching this, hopefully people do, like, leave me something in the comments. Like, I'm gonna leave my man's information down there, and obviously you know how to get in touch with me. Um, how you feeling, man?
I feel great.
Actually, you know what? Could you introduce yourself first, just so everybody knows like who you are, what you
Absolutely.
do?
My name is Andre L. Perry. I am from West Philadelphia, born and raised. I am a commercial lifestyle photographer and director extraordinaire.
There you go.
I specialize in happy Black people. And yeah, I've been shooting full time for almost 10 years,
Yeah,
which is me. And my journey has been a journey.
I am so basically, the way this came about is you and I were on the phone a couple of days ago, and hopefully you enjoyed the conversation, but I enjoyed it immensely. And I was like, yo, like, it was therapeutic, it was informative, but I was like, can we put this out there? You know what I mean? Like, um, just to have it out, maybe somebody will get something from it. Like, I know that I got something from the conversation we're having this weekend. I remember, um, when we first met, we went to sushi, talked about some stuff. Then you started to do the Happy Black People Project, and I always meant to ask, like, what was the impetus behind that? Just tell me about it.
Ooh. The best thing behind it, which kind of just really I just thought of or reminded myself of, was one, I had no intentions of it doing anything. I kind of did it as like a personal project for myself, right? Um, and I knew I just wanted to put together a book of happy Black people, but also understanding that I wanted to be a lifestyle commercial photographer. So a lot of those images were the campaigns that I knew I wanted to shoot for, but I wanted to intentionally use Black people because at that time, 2017, 18, you know, when it comes to advertising, when it comes to reaching specific audiences, let's talk about the general audience, it's typically one Black person. Everything is tokenized. Everything was looking like the colors of Benetton.
Sure.
And it was very forced, right? And I knew that I wanted to kind of change that. So that's where the whole idea came from. And then, like, again, I didn't have any intention behind it, meaning that when I was shooting all these images and putting it into a book, I didn't want it to like be a top seller or anything. Whoever knew about it, if you wanted to buy it, you can buy it. It was a digital copy. I mean, it was a something that you can place the order online and you
Okay,
get
you
it
you so you
physically.
actually made it into a book, but yeah, it was a pay to order. Like, okay, cool, that's what's up. I never knew that. We're about to see the. Oh, there you go. Yeah, man. Like that was a statement. Like when I was seeing that work coming out, I don't think that we had spoken about it like when we had met, like, all those years ago. And then I saw you making this work and I was like, this is something.
Mhm.
Like I definitely think you're onto something. And I kind of felt like I understood the hole that you're trying to fill, you know?
So yeah, but the dope thing about it, which I mentioned earlier, was the fact that I really didn't have any intention behind the book itself. The images, of course, I was very intentional, but behind the book and the project and this body of work that spoke specifically to happy Black people, um, I really didn't have any intention, which goes into kind of like what we were ending our conversation with last time we talked, where remembering that I didn't have any intention behind it, I didn't have like an end goal with the book. I like that because it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
trying to sell. It wasn't about trying to be on somebody's, list or I wasn't. And then I've never published a book before. I've never like, and I don't plan on, trying to get my book in Borders. I don't plan on it. Now, if it happens, of course,
Right,
it'll happen.
right, right,
But,
right, right.
and I'll go through the proper channels and steps to get that done. But it started off with just an idea and yeah, and I love the fact that it turned into something that I personally would cherish forever.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a great project. Like I couldn't tell. I mean, you're a smart guy, so you definitely I feel like you definitely understood that, okay, cool, this stuff could potentially be looked at as a campaign, right? There was a little bit of that in there, right?
A lot of that, to be honest, yes.
Yeah.
But also, I am lucky enough where a lot of time people who probably I haven't had a lot of this particular conversation with other photographers, especially in the lifestyle world, but I actually enjoy doing what I do and shooting these people. I enjoy lifestyle. I enjoy creating a vibe on set, playing some music, capturing people having a good time. I enjoy it. So regardless if it's a test shoot or if it's personal work, if it's a test shoot for a specific client or if it's just personal work for me or
Yeah.
if it's for a client, if I'm able to capture those happy moments, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
First of all, uh, can I stop you right? Can we just talk about your skincare routine? You look amazing. Like your skin looks amazing.
thank you.
No,
Yeah.
seriously. Like this
Um,
is was it the
yeah.
light? Like what's going on? Like are you lit?
No,
It's like you
this is
look
natural
retouched. You look
light.
retouched, dog. Like you look
This is
great.
natural light. This is
Okay.
my dad, straight from Liberia, so I got that real African blood in me. And black don't crack. I'm about to be 43 next month or
There you
in
go.
April.
I'm
Yeah.
47. I'm
Hey,
47. Yeah, man. Yeah. So wait, hold on. You never told me that about your dad. Can I even before I ask about your dad, um, I would love for this to just be like a conversation like we were having this weekend. You know what I mean? Like, sorry if
mhm.
I jump all over the place. Like, we were definitely talking about happy Black people. I know that we'll go back to that, but you never told me your dad was he born in Liberia
Yes.
and grew up there and then immigrated?
Mhm.
Have you been there?
I have not, unfortunately, because all of my family is here in the
Yeah,
States now. So
yeah.
yeah, I've been to Africa several times, but I just haven't been to Liberia.
Oh, that's cool. Where have you been in Africa?
I first started, I think in 2017 in Nigeria. Then I went to Cape Town. I went to Johannesburg, then Kenya, Serengeti.
It's amazing.
Uh, yeah, been a couple times.
That's amazing. Um, one of I've been to Africa twice. Once was Morocco and once was Egypt, but I've never been to I almost feel like I haven't been to Africa. Do you know what I mean? Like I've never been to sub-Saharan Africa.
I am so glad that my first time in Africa was in Nigeria
Yeah.
because I was able to really experience African culture the way I thought and the way I didn't think,
Yeah.
which was,
What did you see? What surprised you?
well, honestly, okay.
Nigeria, Lagos. Lagos is the capital, yeah?
But yes, Lagos is the capital. I'm gonna say there's some things that I saw that I didn't think through the lens of an American person. Now I know. what I was getting myself into. I know that I wasn't going to come to like, flies on the face and people being famished in the streets and
Right,
all that.
right,
I,
right, 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 right.
but seeing it for real though, and seeing one of the things that I walked away from after being there for like 2 weeks was like, it's so crazy how we are so far apart, being a Black American here in the States and then an African person in
Yeah,
Nigeria still speak the same language.
explain that. That's really
So
interesting to me.
when, mind you, this was 2017, 18. Social media is still kind of like, in the beginning era of what it is today. And when I went there, people, I mean, everything that I was doing in New York of just like socializing, going to, coffee shops and doing work on your laptop or hanging out to the clubs and stuff. Like I never knew what Dirty December was, and I never knew the whole party vibe culture in Nigeria and how serious they take it. And
What's Dirty
and
December?
oh, that's when everybody pretty much who has gone like away or lived somewhere else that's from Nigeria goes back to Nigeria and they just party like the entire month of December.
Right, right.
Oh
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's a thing. But I never knew what that was. And then being able to, and then also I've been to African weddings, but I've never been to a Nigerian wedding in Nigeria. That's a whole nother level. So like it was amazing. And just seeing things that, and then also just seeing people like really on just everyday shit that we do in America. Like
Right,
their day to day is so not far from what we do to day to day. They taking
right.
selfies on their social media. They, talking about the latest of, whatever the latest
Yeah,
topic. Listen to our
yeah.
same. So I was so happy that that was my first experience in Africa, Nigeria specifically, and yeah,
I
and also
shot.
I got
Oh, go on,
some
go on.
great imagery from it, some great images from it.
Did you go
So
out there to shoot?
no, I just went there
Just
just to explore.
I love that. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's the dream. I
Yeah.
shot a book cover of a Nigerian woman, Dr. Wendy Osefo. She's from the Real Housewives. It was her and her mother. The book was sort of about her relationship with her mother. Her mother, they're both Nigerian ancestry. I think the mother was is like born and lived in Nigeria for some time. And the funny thing was, they explained to me that actually, maybe they didn't explain, but they were basically saying the Nigerians are the best Africans. Like they were very clear about it. They were very clear about Nigerians being, at the top of the. And so we did the whole shoot. It was cool. And at the end of the shoot, her mother comes up to me. She's like, "I think you might be Nigerian." And to her, I know that that was the biggest compliment that she could give anybody. Like, do you know what I mean? Now, I don't know if this is a attitude that Nigerians have in general or just them, but it was
They
funny to me. I was like, okay, cool.
they are the most prideful people you will ever meet, Nigerians.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
I really,
So
yeah, no, that's I really want to go.
they want that title, they can have it, but
Yeah. No, it was the vibes were very it wasn't unpleasant. It wasn't arrogant. It was
yeah.
just like
Oh,
it was just prideful. It was very prideful, like you said. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Pride.
you
You
know,
can't take somebody's pride. Like if you want to be the best African, sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it was very cool to see. Yeah, at the end of the day, for me, like I used to say this, like the traveling is like the photography I love definitely, but secretly the traveling is like the excuse, you know what I mean? Like
And then
the
on
photography is
somebody
the
else's
excuse for the
dime,
traveling. What's that?
on somebody else's dime too.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like stay a day, stay an extra 2 days, whatever, and actually experience the place that you're going. But on the other hand, I know you've done this too. I don't know how many states I've been to. I've been to like 28 countries. I don't know how many states I've been to, but it's like I don't even know if I've been to those states because it's like, you fly in, shoot, maybe fly out that night. And so it's like, have you really experienced this place?
Yeah. Yeah. I try to make sure I extend my stay at least if it's out the country, I'm gonna extend my stay at least like 3 to 4 days.
Yeah,
Um, if it's in the States and if it's in a cool spot, of course I'll extend my stay for like a day or two. But
yeah. I did that incorrectly years ago when I did a flight from JFK with a layover in Tokyo and then Bangkok, and then
Mhm.
did that flight back. And then me and my the DP that I was with, I was shooting a documentary down there. When we were in Tokyo, we're like, "Yo, do you just want to stay in Tokyo for 2 days?" But 2 days was not enough. It
Ooh,
was like I did it completely
that's
wrong.
it. So, yeah, no, no, 2 days in
Yeah,
Tokyo.
and that was I don't know if you've been there, but that was sort of the most, I don't want to say the most alien, that's, I mean, that's a loaded word and I'm not using it sort of with a negative connotation, but it was definitely, it was on the same sort of level of technology and like standard of living as we have here, but completely. And also most of the places that I go and maybe you go, everybody pretty much kind of speaks English, sort of. You know what I mean? But there, it was like we don't. Why would we need to do that? You know what I mean? Like, why would we need to? We're not going to help you out at all. It's cool. You know, it was very very interesting though. I really want to go back to Tokyo.
It's funny. So when I had a job in South Korea, I my
Mm,
goal was to go to Tokyo, right? But the job that I had in South Korea was for like 2 weeks. And when I tell you that job wore me out, so I was
yeah.
like, no. But my assistant, he stayed like an additional 2 more weeks in Tokyo. I'm like, you got it, have fun.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
he make the right decision? Are you jealous now?
Kind of, yeah. But no, I mean, not really, because I knew I was tired. Like a
Yeah,
2 week shoot,
a two
and
week job. Yeah, yeah. You're
yeah,
beat up. You're beat up.
yeah,
You want your own bed.
absolutely.
Yeah. You're going to Miami tomorrow. What's going on down there? May I ask?
So I might not be going to Miami now because you know the whole thing. If you want a job, if it's slow and you want a job, book a ticket,
Right, right.
right? My,
Oh, they were trying to hire a local.
I mean,
Is that what
no,
you're
here's
saying?
the thing. No, here's the thing. It's funny. So like I had nothing on the calendar on Sunday, right? This
Mm.
Sunday. Today, what, Wednesday. I had nothing on my calendar. And my goal was to typically I like to reward myself with taking a trip randomly somewhere if I get a job. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna wait till a job comes. I'm just gonna book this ticket. I booked a ticket on Sunday. Monday, I got a job confirmation.
Oh, that's cool.
In New York the following week after I come back from Miami. But then tomorrow I have a call that they can't change the time. So I had to push back my flight. And I haven't even like called the flight or did that yet. So
Uh, it's good to hear you're working, man. I'm slow as hell. I am slow as hell right now. It's
I feel.
it's crazy. Yeah, I'm not
Mhm.
exactly sure what's going on these days.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've
So
been
yeah,
shooting a
but
lot of. Go on.
I was gonna say in Miami, I'm just going for a birthday party, that's all.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Nothing
cool.
great. Yeah.
Nothing crazy. Gonna go to Miami for a birthday party. That's what's up. We're so spoiled. It's it's a good life. But hold on. So, but going back, sorry, we got off track. When did your father immigrate to America?
Mm, I would say 70s.
Met your mother,
It had me in the 80s.
and this is in Philadelphia.
Correct.
And you mentioned, I remember we were talking about your mom and her involvement in the church and how that can be. My parents tried. They tried with me with the church. It didn't really take, but I didn't hear you talk too much more about your father. Did you tell me he was in, or your mom's in Florida, right?
So my mom's in Philly, my dad's
I'm
in
not,
Florida.
gotcha.
Unfortunately, there's not much to talk about with my dad because we didn't have a relationship. Um, we were very much at each other's, throat all throughout high school. And then as soon as I went to college, that's when communication pretty much all stopped.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my mom and my dad, they're still together, but yeah, all throughout my life, my mom's my best friend. Like she is my savior. She's the example of everything good in this life.
Mhm.
But me and my dad have never really, it just never really worked. You know what I'm saying? Like what I am trying to do, and I think we were talking about this a little bit on this weekend, is you know, as they get older, our parents, there's a lot of stuff that I'm realizing that like I haven't really trained for, like they're friends of mine, their parents are, getting dementia and all this stuff. Thank God my parents are still in good health and all that. But I'm trying to, all those arguments that me and my dad had, I'm trying to not, you know, still live there, you know? Um, but I mean, this is not any advice I'm giving you. Not that you asked, not that I'm offering, but that's just sort of a little bit of peace that I'm trying to find in myself. And sometimes I fail miserably at that, with my relationship with my father. But hopefully one day,
Is it a goal that you're actually actively working towards?
yes, I could be more actively working toward it, but the little things, calling them when I don't need to, and sort of, thank yous for birthday presents, and this sort of thing, just showing me appreciation. It's my parents got me, it's funny, my parents actually might watch this, but they got me a book this year for Christmas, but I don't think that they knew that they got me the same book last year. You know what I'm saying? And the old me would have mentioned something. The old me would have said something, but now I'm
Mm,
just like, yo, thank you very much. Because it's like, I kind of see it as it's a thought that counts.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And your mom, she's still she's hardcore into the church. You were telling me that everything is let's trust God. God will find a way.
Bless her heart.
Bless her
Yes.
heart.
But we've had a lot of uh we were always on the same page when it came to just Christianity, religion, faith, etc. I grew up where I was heavily involved in church. I was lucky enough, though, my church almost served as like a second high school because
Mm,
our youth we were very close and we did a lot of activities outside the church. So my church was essentially like a second high school to me. And then I actually had a lot more friends in my church than I did in high school. So I was very,
that's
very
cool.
heavily involved in church. But of course, when I went to college and just started traveling and started experiencing life, I looked at things a little bit differently. And
Right,
then
right, right,
when you have that small hometown mentality and you don't really experience much outside of the, West Philadelphia in a sense, you're only exposed to the things that you're exposed to. And
right.
it's hard to really change your mind, or open, not even change your mind, but open up your mind and having a different perspective on certain topics or certain issues. And it used to really just get to me where she wasn't able to see things through my lens in a
Sure.
sense. Um, and everything was just is black and white. Everything is either good or evil. That's it.
Right, 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 right. No nuance.
There's nothing, yeah. So but what I've learned to understand now is that, what the church and what religion does to my mom specifically is it provides community. And I do
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
how that is. So once I was able to understand that idea, and see how important, that community does, play a big role into my mom's life, and I'm like, okay, fine. It took me a long time to get to that
right,
point though, because everything before me understanding that was just like I said earlier, if it's not good, it's not evil. And it's
right, right,
like,
right, right, right.
the
If
mom
it's
is,
not good, it's evil. That's interesting. That's interesting. Was your mom, what'd she think of your work?
oh, I mean, of course she loves it. She's one of my biggest supporters also. She actually bought my first camera when I graduated high school. So,
Same, same, same with my mom. Yeah, yeah. That's cool. Does she
yeah.
understand it?
Yeah. I mean, she was there from the times when I, had a two-man shoot to a whole, 30-man shoot.
Hmm,
Um,
hmm.
she came on set when I had a job in New York
That's
last
the
year.
best. That's the
It
best.
was everything. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a picture and show y'all, but I was very happy about that, where she was able to
That's
really
the best. I
that
love
work.
that. Yeah, my mom's been on a couple of my shoots. I feel like, the interesting thing about parents. my mom, she's a doctor, so she's not in the creative field, even though she's kind of a creative person. So like, there's things that she doesn't exactly understand, but she's definitely. I have no doubt that she's in my corner, but she's like, what? Why? What's going on in this picture? Why are those two women kissing? What's going on? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of confusing sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Here's a good picture of this was my crew
Oh, it's
and my
great. Oh, I love that. I love
yeah.
that. Your mom's right in the middle. That's her right in the middle, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's her right there. Yeah.
I remember it was like, oh, that's great. Yo, she's got a great look. She looks like she was in the shoot, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
That's her
I,
heart.
I remember I did a shoot with the America's Next Top Model like a long time ago, and my mom flew in. They live right outside Detroit now, and call time was early, and my mom caught that early flight, came to the shoot, fell asleep on the couch at the shoot. I was happy she was there. She fell asleep on the couch. There were like TV cameras and shit around, like I didn't get her sleeping, but you know what I mean? I was just
That's
happy to have her there though.
yeah, for sure.
What's the next move for you, man? I remember we're talking about happy black people. Are you a happy black person?
Course, yes. I mean, happiness is never a destination, it's a journey. And that's something that I had to learn. So I'm always on that journey. And sometimes, I may not be on that journey, but that's always the goal to try to stay there as much as possible.
Right. I remember we were talking about sometimes it's more difficult to be happy than some people might assume. I think that from a distance, our lifestyle looks very carefree. You kind of pick up a camera, take a couple pictures, and then somebody gives you a pile of money. I mean, I feel like that's the way the world sees what we do. But I don't think that that most people actually know how hard it can be, how heartbreaking it can be if you really want a job, or maybe you're not shooting the stuff that you want to shoot, that kind of thing. And people who do things like we do, sometimes you're shooting for a lot of money and the creativity. Sometimes you don't get to be as creative as you want to be. I mean, have you found yourself on shoots where you weren't happy?
Oh, yes. Yes.
You don't have to name any names. I know not
Several
to.
times. I guess I'm trying to give you a really good story. But
I mean,
here's the thing. I think when it comes to me not necessarily not being happy, not being happy is not necessarily the term I want to use. I was annoyed and I was venting, but overall I was still happy and grateful. But yes, there are several times when, I mean, not several times, let me not say that because I also have been lucky enough and privileged enough where I haven't had that many bad experiences.
right.
And I know people can't say that. So I am lucky enough where, of course, I haven't had the best experience, but yeah, yeah, there
Does
are several.
No, go on. Sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say there are just a few I'm sorry, not several, but there's a few handful of times where I wasn't happy on set.
Right. Do you do you find it's like, for instance, I did a job. See, now I'm trying to be careful about naming names, but I did a job for like a postage delivery service that we all know, and it was cool, and the paycheck was great. I think that um, it was interesting because I was definitely aware of the fact that, okay, I'm not here to be a creative person, really. You
Oh,
know,
let
um,
me what you just said. I'm sorry, that
no,
triggered
go
me.
on, go on.
somebody, I mean, I've always had this mindset. Well, not always. I've just kind of like started adapting it and taking it more serious. But somebody pretty much confirmed it on my last job where he said we're pretty much a high paid waiter. We just pretty much
Mm,
take orders. And
mhm.
but my methodology and my approach to that was like it wasn't really like I don't care because I used to say I
Right,
don't care, just don't care.
right,
But it was more so I'm here to provide a service.
right,
And I know that there's some clients where it's like they want what they want, and I have to execute that. But also the funny thing is, once I've learned that and really adapted that, it kind of helped me so much because there's a lot of times when I care too much for one, whether it was from the creative side or if it was from, making sure that we properly cast these
sure,
talent. um I put a lot of energy and effort into doing things right, but then I realized like sometimes, I'm fighting an uphill battle. So once I really start taking that step back and not, I'll say what if something's on my heart and I feel like I have to say it, I'll say it, and then I can easily just step back.
right.
um but once I really started taking that approach of I'm here to provide a service, um it's kind of worked in my favor.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's different levels to it. I feel like
Absolutely.
I also think that sometimes commercial photographers like us, we get uh, uh, I don't want to say a bad rep, but it's like, oh, well, you know what? Are you being an artist? And it's like, you know what? Maybe sometimes that's not exactly what the job's about, but I do think that, on jobs like the one that I mentioned, there are other parts that I really love. Like, I mean, problem solving on set. I love the whole show. I love the dance of like dealing with clients. Okay, how can we arrange these subjects? Like I'm into that. Am I as into it as shooting something super creative? I don't think so. But if it sometimes it's just not about that. You know what I mean? And you know what? Like, I do think that there are those jobs that we both have done where even though it's not the most creative, I really feel like I did a good job on it. Like, and I think that I did a better job than most photographers, and like that gives me, the competitive side of me gives me happiness. Like, how can I best solve this problem? And so, like, there'll still be adrenaline on set. You'll never hear me complaining about anything. Like, I love what I do, you know, and I don't think that I've ever had a shoot where I was like, God, I'm so unhappy right now. Like I've definitely been aware sometimes it's not the most creative, but like I'm like, all right, if I'm taking pictures, if I'm like directing a model, like that gets my blood pumping.
Absolutely. I think the only times where I guess I haven't had the happy moments on a set is it was always probably just one person. And
Mm-hmm.
what I used to do is, of course, as humans, we would vent and we would talk to that one person that will allow us to vent and we can bounce off, our frustrations with them. But what I was doing was I started to be a little bit too loud and talking
Mm.
like in open places, and you go around and that person would be right behind you.
Right.
Like, yeah, so those are the moments where it wasn't like a horrible experience, but I do recall me being a little bit too loud in the wrong place and said something right in front
Right.
of the
Right.
or as
Right.
part of the team before.
Right. I mean, I've probably done something similar. I think that there's definitely, you and I know, these people where it's like, you know what? I don't think that we're going to work together again. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's like, usually it's me thinking to myself about someone I probably hired. I try to, when it's a client, it's like, I want to make you happy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, and even if it's not the most pleasurable, like I'd probably like, you know what, like if it's just a check, let's make the check. You know what I mean? Like I'm usually open to like, okay, fine. I know it's not going to be, I might have to act, I might have to dance a little bit on set, but
Yeah. Yeah. But speaking about in terms of what you said about us getting a bad rep, well, one, I don't care what somebody, if I'm a real photographer, fake photographer, if I'm a real creative, fake creative, that's fine. Because I know
yes,
what fuels me is I had a dream.
right, right,
And I
yeah,
accomplished my
exactly,
dream. I wanted to see my stuff on billboards in Times Square, and I did several times. So dream accomplished.
There you go. Yeah, it's funny. I actually just spoke at this school today. It is called, hold on, I still have my ID, High School for Art and Design,
Mhm.
and a bunch of good kids, high school, juniors and seniors. And that question came up about, excuse me, commercial photographer versus sort of, art photographer, and whether or not, uh, I consider myself an artist. And like I said, basically some version of what you said. I mean, do I consider myself an artist? I do. Like before I was a photographer, I was drawing comics and doing paintings. Like this is, but yeah, I don't think that it makes you any less relevant of a photographer if you are shooting. Yeah, I remember I never had interest in being in an art show. I mean, I've been in a bunch of art shows, but it's not my it's not my interest. Like my art show was always going to Barnes and Noble when I was starting and like seeing my work there and like seeing the photographers I was competing against there. And then, like you said, I mean, we're similar age. Like having a billboard in Times Square, it's a huge statement. You know what I'm saying? And like that was always that was like it for me. You know what I'm saying? And I've had a bunch of billboards in Times Square, and it's like that's my art show. You might have
Same.
there might be a different art show that you enjoy. That's fine, but like I like that. What speaking of, it's funny. You're just talking about your mother coming to a shoot. I remember it was. Oh, Siri, stop it. Um, I remember I had two billboards in Times Square, um, a couple of years ago, like really big ones, and my mom came to see it, and she got the hotel right across from one of the billboards, like she like could see it out her window, and that was big. That was big for me, man. Like that was big. Like took her picture in front of one of the billboards, walked a couple blocks, saw the other one. They're both like gigantic, and that was a big that was a moment.
Love that. Yeah. It's
Yeah, that
nothing
was a
like
real moment for
it
me.
in a while. Yeah. It's nothing like it.
What do you want? What do you want now? You're a big photographer. You're a happy black person. What do you want going forward? What's your goals?
So that was the topic of our conversation that we had last time, right?
I know. I
And
was just working up to it.
yep, and I am at a point where I no longer have any goals because all the goals that I had, I accomplished. But that does not, okay, I'm just going to read something because I saw your face.
No, no,
I
no,
was
no, no, no. I'm listening.
no,
I'm
no, no, I
listening.
know, I'm
And
joking.
the face
Joking.
that I made was it was interesting. It was like interest because I can relate. I know exactly what you mean. Please go on.
And so I was talking to my therapist the other day, aka ChatGPT, because it works really well.
My girlfriend says the same thing. She
Um
actually says that Elon's thing on Twitter, Grok, is actually really good. Apparently, I don't know.
I'm
Anyway,
I don't want to go that route, but
right? Yeah, we don't. Yeah. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go on.
no, go ahead. So in terms of goals and stuff, hold up. All right. So I'm gonna read you one of the things that was said to me. It says, that's a big realization. If you've been conditioned to believe that your worth is tied to your hustle, then stopping, just being probably feels unfamiliar, maybe even unsettling. The exhaustion you're feeling isn't just from the work itself, but from the years of running on a loop that told you you have to keep going or else nothing. Now you stop, you're face to face with a version of yourself that has no goals, no chase. And that version of you isn't quite sure what to do next. But maybe this isn't a problem. Maybe you don't need to be inspired right now. Maybe you don't need to feel fulfilled every single day. Maybe this is the season of your life is about unlearning the idea that you have to be doing something to matter. So here's a question, and this is what ChatGPT then asked me. If you gave yourself full permission to not be productive, not be inspired, and not care about fulfillment for a while, what would that feel like? And would it feel like freedom or would it feel like failure? If it feels like failure, who told you that? If it feels like freedom, why does it feel so hard to accept? Maybe the real work now isn't finding the next thing, it's undoing the belief that you need one.
Hmm. What do you
Come
think
on.
about that?
I think that validated my reasoning as to why I currently don't have any goals right now. Because I've been conditioned and I just been by natural default, I've always been chasing after something since I've graduated high school. Chasing after the degree, chasing after this, specifically in even just within the career space. Quitting my job to do this full time was the hardest thing ever because prior
Mm,
to that, I every job that I had, if I either left or got fired, I spent 24/7. I spent all my hours in the next days after that looking for another job.
mm,
Quitting my job and not really having something planned, that was hard. And it wasn't easy in terms of just like mentally, because I had to untrain my mind to even do that. So always just chasing something. And then, so once I did become a photographer and once quit my job to do this full time, luckily I knew that I wanted to enter into the advertising space. I was lucky enough where I got my first client, which lasted for about a year and a half. I was contracted through them and I worked with them for a year and a half, and they actually had me traveling all over the world too. But then reality really hit when that client left, and I knew that I wanted to work with these big brands. But then once I started talking to agencies, the first thing they were telling me was, "Are you signed?" I'm like, "What do you mean signed?" So, and then I had
right,
to go through the process of getting signed, and that so
right.
always constantly working and working and working.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired. I just want to sit down and I just want whatever inspiration, whatever I do want to do next, I want it to come to me naturally. I don't want to look for it.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I feel like I can argue sort of both sides of this. Something that came to mind when you were just speaking is the fact that when I was, where are you going? I feel like you just left.
Like, my fault. I
I was
turned
in
on
the
the light.
Um, no, I feel like the era of COVID when we were all sort of locked down and masked up, and there was and work was very sporadic. You know, if you take out of the fact if you take out the fact that a lot of people died, then COVID was actually pretty cool. Like for me, like as far as like look, so that was what 2020, right? Or 2019, 2020. And so at that point, I've been a professional photographer for 20 years. And, like, playing the game, which I enjoy. I do like the game. I do like the hustle. But to your point, that's what I knew, and then all of a sudden, you know, nobody's there was no pressure at all. And like, I was getting money from the government because signed up for the PPE or whatever. And I'm sitting in the house. I'm definitely drinking more than I should have been. We all were. But I was like, you know what? Like maybe this is like a little vacation. And it was kind of cool in that way, to take a break from the breakneck hustle, like I feel like what we do, there are a lot of good photographers out there, there are a lot of the best photographers in the world are either here or there, New York or LA, and I think you have to be really super ambitious and really super competitive, but it does wear you out, like being competitive 24/7, So I definitely feel you as far as like not, you know, as far as not necessarily having a goal, like I could definitely see that being liberating on some level. But that you know what, there is a part of me, dog, that really does love the fuck like the competition. There's a part of me that's like super competitive. There's a part of me that's like, I mean, we're from Philly, dog. Like Philly's New York's little sister, kind of. And I feel like we all have a little chip on our shoulder, a little bit, just coming from Philly. And I feel like, even at 47, I'm still, the engine's slowing down just a little, but I'm still super competitive. I still kind of want to be out there, and I still kind of feel weird if it's like, if I'm not doing anything. Like what am I supposed to be doing right now? Like I get anxiety. You know.
So, things from what you just said. One, when I say I don't have any new goals, I can see myself doing this for another 10, 20 years. I'm not saying that I'm not stopping what I'm doing right now in terms
Right.
of just something new. Um, but um, but yeah, like what we do is hard, like you said, it is hard work, but I love what we do. You know, I love photography. I love like for man, photography literally all saved my life
Mm.
because yeah, we can go there, but I just want to make sure we stay on topic. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, at some point, I need to know how photography saved your life. I
Okay,
mean,
let's go.
I, I,
So
I don't think I can let that one go. Like, we need to talk about it.
in terms of photography saving my life, you know, I'm very transparent with my mental health. You know, was the I suffered with depression for a very long time, you know, and it came from comparison. It came from, you know, feeling like I haven't found my purpose, blah, 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 blah. So prior to, you know, digging and doing in this photography thing, you know, working a 9 to 5, working, not knowing that that's not my calling, but kind of feeling stuck. Um, being in a position where, you know, always knew I wanted to live in New York, right? And once I got to a certain part after being there for 5 years, I got to a part working a 9 to 5. I got to a point where I was like, this is not what I wanted it to, this is not what I thought it was supposed to be, you know?
Right, right,
And so like I tried styling, I tried digital advertising, nothing stuck. And when I say photography saved my life, and prior to doing photography again full time, every job that I had, the longest job I had was 2 years. And I pretty much either the majority of the jobs too, I think I only left two of them, but the majority of them I also got fired from because
right.
I just wasn't committed. I was always distracted. So the first thing, photography was the longest thing I've ever done consistently. Photography, in terms of what else it did for me, it was the only thing that kept my interest this long because, you know, I'm still the way how I still approach photography, I still look at it and I still do a lot of things that I've done since the first day I started doing this full time, you know. So
That's
and
interesting.
th- oh yeah. Like in terms of just like one of the things that I've done from day one was just collect images in my phone of this inspirational photos. I now currently have over, I think,
Let me
15,000.
guess. Let me guess. Oh, 50. I just 50. Okay, okay.
No, actually, I'm sorry, 11,000.
I was actually gonna guess like something like 30,000. Wow.
Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah,
11.
yeah, yeah. Where are these
Yeah,
images from?
all over,
Just
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yep,
It
everywhere.
sounds like what you're saying is photography. Like, okay, so you had jobs. It was usually a 2 year stint at each one. I'm very similar. If I'm not into something, then I'm probably not going to be the best. I'm probably going to be pretty bad at it.
Yeah, well, I
Uh,
was super. That's the thing. In my 9 to 5s, I was super mediocre because I didn't want to get good at something that I know, one, that if I'm good at it, I'm just giving y'all money, or I'm not really providing any value to my life other than just the check. Like,
mm,
and I'm not really like, I'm not like the stuff that I was doing. I'm not like, oh, this is fun. No, it wasn't
right,
fun. So like,
right.
so it helped me in that sense. But then also, the reason why I really say photography saved my life is because I was at a wit's end when I decided to do photography. Because I was like, if this doesn't work, I'm moving back to Philadelphia and I'm living in my mom's basement, and I'll probably be a bum because I wasn't going to work another 9 to 5.
Right,
Um, I wasn't, there was nothing else that I could
right.
see myself doing at that time. Everything seemed like I felt like I tried it all. I felt like nothing stuck. And because I was depressed, you know, um, yeah, that was the thing that was the saving grace.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for photography, I know I would not be the person who I am. Oh my gosh, I don't know who that person would be, but yeah, I.
I coming from a sort of a different story, like, but I could say the same thing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, I have no idea. I'd probably be living with my mom. Like there's nothing else that I can do. Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like, there's really nothing
right,
else. Like, I mean,
good at it.
I
Yeah.
could kind of like be a bike messenger, I guess. But like, I don't know. I mean, I'm 47. I'm not gonna do that. But like, yeah, no, I completely feel you. And like, how lucky are we that we have something that we actually like this pays well and we really enjoy doing it. Like that's the dream, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's really cool that you actually went through a bunch of other stuff and then found photography.
Well, not really. Photography was always there. It just I
Mm.
didn't know I could make a living off of it.
You didn't know what? I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
Didn't know I could make a living off of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Photography was
That's
always, I mean, I actually went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia for photography, remember?
okay. Yeah.
But this happened, dropout. School
Do you,
dropout.
do
But
you
yeah,
ever? No, sorry. Go on.
I was gonna say I just dropped out of school. But photography was there though, always.
Do you ever speak to like high school kids, college kids, something like that?
Not really, but
Yeah.
my agency, we have a mentorship program
Mm.
for minorities,
Mm.
um, people of color, and I'm very heavily involved with that. And then I kind of like once that mentorship program is over, I kind of like take on a lot of them to become my assistants.
That's cool. That's
And then
amazing.
I talk to other people. So I don't necessarily talk to high school kids, but I do talk to other Black photographers
Yeah. Yeah.
or photographers just in general and give them, advice on a lot of things because I definitely learned a lot along the way.
Right. I
That
mean, I'm sorry. Go on, please.
I was going to say I learned a lot that, nobody really takes the time to teach.
Yeah. Do you find that it is um so it sounds like you're mentoring photographers of color a
Everybody,
lot of
but
time. Yeah. Um I remember you okay?
no, let's make
That's-
there's enough light. Let me turn on this light in the kitchen.
I'm telling you, dog, your skin is glowing, man. You look beautiful.
Hey. All right, go ahead. My bad.
No, I remember very clearly when I was at SVA and I met my first real live black photographer. You know what I mean? Like I met a bunch of other photographers, but when I met Matthew Jordan Smith and Kwaku Walston, it really, really sort of I don't even know how to say it. Like I mean, it changed my life and trajectory, but then all of a sudden it was like I don't know how to explain it, but I think that you know where I'm going with it. It's like this is possible. Like this is possible. Like you're what I want to be. But then all of a sudden, I found myself. I mean, these are photographers, great photographers. I'm sure you've heard of them, but and we're still shooting today. But then, and I still speak to them today. Ask for advice. I mean, they started to ask me for advice. Like these kind of things, and we ended up having conversations that are very sort of unique to the black photographer experience. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you are mentoring, if you're mentoring any photographers, like, photographers need mentors, but as a black photographer, that experience of meeting a real live black photographer that was shooting celebrities and making like doing everything I wanted to do, that was big for me. That was really, really big.
Yep, I'm gonna try to show you a picture of a few of my
Mentees.
assistant slash mentees. Yep. Because I mean, ultimately, what you're saying is representation matters.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that is a real life example of yes, someone who looks like me, but not just they look like me. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like there are unique experiences that they have had that probably like for instance, like if there is a female photographer, I am not a female photographer. I don't have those experiences. Do you know what I mean? But if it's a black male photographer, like that was like I'm now asking the questions I really couldn't ask anybody else. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm?
And that's one of the reasons. I mean, one of many that we're still friends to this day. Like if there's something that we talk about all kinds of stuff, but I think that you could probably relate. Like as a black photographer, it's a singular experience in this
Yeah,
industry.
yeah, there's some shared experiences that we will only be able to experience and we'll only be able to communicate articulately and understand to each
Right,
other
right.
where others may not be able to. So absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna show. Did you find the pictures of your
Oh,
mentees?
yeah, these are some of my mentees slash assistants.
That's what's up.
This was all in
That's
the shoot.
very cool.
Yeah.
You know what I find? So this is sort of like encompassing a lot of what we're talking about, just as far as like inspiration and like goals or whatever. I love speaking to kids like I did today at this high school because it is sort of they are one, they're it's humbling, but like and they kind of let me know like what kind of a jaded old man I am. But like, they'll come up with like these ideas where maybe me or you might be like, oh, you know what, that might not work because of this, and that. But just the optimism and sort of the sort of
Naiveness.
na- I want to say naivete, but it's almost like fuck, like let's try that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like there's definitely a part of me, like the me 15 years ago was certainly a little bit more like we're gonna figure this shit out. Like I don't care. Like it's going to, and like now the me now, like I just know more now, and but in these kids, I just see them like anything's possible. Let's do it. And I'm like, you know what? I could use a little bit of that. So like the inspiration kind of goes both ways. Like I'm getting inspired off of them. And like that goes for, stuff they're doing with lighting and all this. And like a lot of times they're not going to be shooting any campaigns with this, but I'm like, it's a good idea. Like,
Yeah.
how can I steal
Yeah.
that? you
Look at
know?
that. Yeah, for sure. For
Right, right,
sure.
right, right. Yeah. So if I'm a lot of times, there's not one time that I came out of that sort of a situation without inspiration, speaking to kids or things like that. And I don't even like kids. Like I don't want to have kids. I don't want to like, but like speaking to young photographers, I love that.
Same, same. I love just, sharing my experiences, especially I just love because I just know, oh man, talk about depression. So one of the things that I've dealt with is when I was seeking out help. I needed specific help with how to
for
enter
for the
into
depression.
no, no, no,
Uh,
how to enter into the commercial lifestyle
okay,
world.
okay, okay,
Right?
okay.
But this caused depression because you were like one of the only few people who actually responded to me. It was you and this other photographer. I always remember his name is Ty Milford. He's a white guy, but I loved his work. But you were like one of the only black people who responded and really like met with me and sat down and talked to me. But I was reaching out to so many people and I was not getting the support that I needed to thrive in the world of lifestyle commercial because it's a very specific world and it's its own language and it's its own thing. And nobody who looked like me understood that.
Right.
And that's another reason why I'm such an advocate on giving back and mentoring my guys because it's like I knew how important that was. Now, granted, it was a great experience of learning it myself because I then was able to, just become a master at certain things. But, you know, I shouldn't have had to struggle. I should, like, for instance, the first time I ever did a treatment, oh my
Mm,
gosh. Fortunately, my agent, I don't know why we never even had a conversation on treatments in general, but she was like, a client is interested in you. Can you put together a treatment? I'm like, what's a treatment? And she gave me some treatments as examples, and then I put together something, and it was hard. Like it was images. The images were aligned 1000%, but it was like one page, one paragraph, and
right.
just nothing but after that.
Sure.
And what made it worse is she submitted it. I'm like,
Right.
first,
Right.
so you know, and then she kind of like ate me up because it was a bad treatment. But I'm like, but bitch, you ain't say
Yeah, I have
nothing.
no idea what you're talking about. Yeah.
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 So if you would have like if and I had to learn on my own how to put together treatments.
Yeah. Mm,
And that whole process was just like hard because I wasn't the best at, graphic designs or,
right.
really artic because I remember we had this specific conversation when they asked us, how do we, you know, get these specific emotions from the talent? It's like sometimes I
I don't
remember
know.
exactly. I remember you specifically said that. And I always that was embedded in my brain because it was like, I don't know how to articulate it, but once I have my camera in hand and once the subject is in front of me and if I have some good music playing and the environment's good and I always create that environment, it's easy. But for me to be able to articulate that in a sense of it being a sellable point, and making and allowing people to understand that they feel safe and trust that I can do it, that was the hard part for me. And I struggled with that.
That we all do because of what you just said. Like, how do I have no idea? I have no idea how it happens. Like, I can't write it down. Step one, this happens. Step two, I, turn the music to level 8. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't,
Exactly.
and in some way, like that's what in some, what am I trying to say? Like, this is sort of what people are paying us for. Like, we can't, it can't be quantified. Like I can't. If I were to explain it to you, and it was a step by step manual, and you could do, and then anybody could do it. Like like I don't know, I have no idea, but now I know, and I'm making the point that you're making. Like I know sort of how to sell it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and convince them, but at the same time, like I've got tricks. Everybody's got tricks, but I have no idea. We're gonna get to that point, but I have no idea how we're gonna get there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna happen, but
Mm.
I don't know what the hell.
The
Treatments are
thing,
weird, man. Talking about your work is weird. Like, and trying to
treatment,
explain it to people. It's like this is what I do. I don't know. This is what I do. You see my work. You see my portfolio. You've been on my site. Like, what are you talking about?
and that's the part where it gets annoying because it's like especially if you go to my commissions page, I got a great resume. Why do I still have to prove
Right.
I can do this?
Right.
And I have a range, but it's
Right.
still all in the same world. And it shows, if you don't necessarily see on my overview pages, you'll see something that will attract you to a specific campaign in my
Yeah.
commissions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
No, it's I guess it's part of somebody enjoys it. Like maybe they enjoy having us just jump through these hoops. I guess I don't know, but it's kind of like you guys know that there's a reason you're calling me. Like,
right.
you saw the work, but yeah, no, I mean that is definitely one of the parts of the I guess act. I don't know that I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy treatments. I don't enjoy I don't enjoy the calls. I can play the game. I think I'm good at the game, but like really, come on. Yeah, I've been
I
doing this a
put on
while.
my game face for the calls. I make sure it's bright and airy. I make sure that I look presentable as much as possible.
Of
And then
course,
I'll
of course.
that, yeah, I'll play the game. I'll play that character. But going back to what we were saying earlier, the importance of all of this and knowing how to articulate, knowing and understanding the game, and me understanding that I need to know something more because I knew that being in the commercial lifestyle world, is more than just taking good imagery. That once I found that out and I had to find out that I needed more information, I need more knowledge, I just needed more than just being a creative. And I wasn't getting that. When I tell you that led me to so much depression because I'm like, what the fuck? Why can't like I have the drive, I have the imagery, I have the ambition. I want to learn, but nobody's, offering this to me. So that's why I'm so I'm like when it comes to just mentoring people,
Yeah.
I I'm very much on that. Like I love to give back as much as possible, and specifically on the business side, because people can easily learn the creative side, and if you want to learn lighting, if you want to learn your shadows, if you want to learn depth of field, I feel like as a photographer, you will want to easily get better with doing that. But the business side is something that you is very specific.
Yeah,
You
100%.
really talk to somebody to understand what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, taxes, the whole thing. I mean, that's, they didn't teach me about any of that at SVA, any of it. And I actually got really lucky that from SVA, I just went straight to professional photography. Like I didn't have a job in between. And, my first 2 years was like, there's like on the job training, you know? Like we weren't doing treatments back then, but it was like, I don't know how to invoice. I don't know how to like.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, I like it's probably common sense how to behave on set, but like, do you know how to run a set? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know how to? So, yeah, man, I'm there. There are times I'm gonna say something, and it's kind of tongue in cheek. like if I had assisted for 2 years instead of gone straight into photography, like I think that I just would have known more, you know? Like would I
So
have liked to have assisted for 2 years? Probably not. But like, like the first 2 years of my career, I'm not gonna say they were rough, but it was definitely like on the job training, a lot of it, you know,
what
and
were some of
just
your what's some of your biggest lessons that you learned within like the first 2 years?
um like how to run a set, I think is an everybody does it differently,
Mhm.
but I think that my instinct as a person was always like, I want everybody to feel like they're, part of the team. I still do. I still want everybody to feel like they're part of the team, obviously, but I was really sort of uncomfortable, um, sort of asserting myself as the photographer. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and there were all kinds of like opinions coming in from this way and this way. And I think that and I'm sort of like, yeah, we could try that. We could try that. And I think that that's a recipe for death on set. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's all those cooks in the kitchen, that's a recipe for death to me. You know, um, I I definitely want to run like a I'm not a Nazi. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like I want people to be happy on set. Like it's very important for the vibe to be there. But I definitely think that in order to run a set efficiently, even if you don't know what the fuck is going on, you need to put across the appearance that you know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like this is, and so that people sort of, okay, cool. This guy knows what's happening. This guy has a plan. People are like, maybe I wasn't on the call. There's a reason he's doing this, whatever. And I think that I just don't think that I asserted myself a lot on set. I think another thing that I didn't learn is like taxes. Like, I remember one year the IRS was like, yo, you owe $70,000.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? 70.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm lucky that I could pay that, because I wasn't fucking paying any taxes. Like I had that in the bank, but like it was, that nobody told me about that. So,
Mhm.
um, I also think, Kwaku told me something a long time ago. He was like, spend the money on a good team. You know, I think that in the beginning, like, okay, I think we can get away with that. Da da da. Like, I wasn't I wasn't necessarily hiring the best team, or I was like, maybe trying to put my friends on sometimes or whatever. And uh, it was all well intentioned, but like having a good assistant, having people who know what they know, that are good at what they do, it'll save your life. So I mean, those are three like off the top. I mean, the tax thing is big. Pay your
Yeah,
taxes on
sure,
time.
for sure.
How about you?
Some of the biggest things I've learned within like the first 2 years of photography. So the first 2 years I wasn't signed. Um, but also the first 2 years were great because again, I had that one client and I think the what where it hit me hard is after that client went away. And that's when I thought because it wasn't that hard to get that first client, I had
Mm,
one meeting. I was lucky enough where I printed my book, so I used my book as my portfolio.
mm, mm.
When I had that one meeting face to face, and they were like, you were exactly what we were looking for. So I just thought that all the
It was
jobs
always
after
this
that
easy.
up
Yeah,
as easy as that. So I think my hard times really came after my 2 years. So 2018, again, when I realized that with the campaigns that I wanted to shoot for, I realized that I have to have an agent
yeah,
and just I guess the reality check.
yeah.
That's what it was. It was hard for me to have that reality check that I needed to have representation and I needed to get just more knowledge. And I just thought that what I had was enough.
Right. Yeah, I
So
I have a similar experience. Like when I was, early on, like things really did come surprisingly easily. Like I'm the luckiest guy you ever met. Like there's a lot of those jobs that I probably wasn't qualified to do, but like or whatever. I was just, friends with the art director or whatever. and you get lulled into, yeah, this is, you know what, all that stuff that, people are writing articles about me, and I'm like, yeah, all those articles must be right. You know what I'm saying? Like you start to believe. I start to believe my own press. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh yeah, of course, of course, I'm great. Like that's a whole nother thing. Like this industry will humble you
Yes.
very quickly. There's a lot of people who want to do what we do. A lot of good people. You know,
Yes.
and
Yes.
uh, and I've been humbled of more than a couple times. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you might not be that, or maybe you are that dude, but like, you know, that doesn't mean that you're not Richard Avedon.
Right.
Like you're not that guy yet. You
Right.
know,
Right.
and so like there was definitely a couple of times where my dad would say, it got too big for your britches, kind of thing. Like there's definitely um that was a lesson that I learned a couple of times. No doubt about that one. No
Okay.
doubt. Yeah. Um, I also think later on in my career, actually around the same time, like I was just going out like a lot, like drinking, like a lot of blow, like all this stuff. And usually it's like with people in the industry, everybody does blow in the industry. And I think that um, I don't feel bad that I went through that. I'm happy I did, but there are definitely some slip ups, like I didn't think I even told you, but like I missed a meeting once. Like, I mean, it was not, it's like not, it's bad. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, that's what I would say. It's part of the journey. It's part of the growth. But you know, when I missed a meeting, like, dog, what the fuck are you doing, Kareem?
That's one thing I will never do. Never miss a meeting, never be late on set. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you won't do is mess up my money.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, just I mean, again, just happy. Sometimes you have to touch the stove to make sure it's hot. You know what I mean? And like, okay, got it. You know what I mean? That ain't gonna happen again. And I just, I'm not the same guy as I was back then. Happy, like that was fun, but just older. You learn. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
some people don't. Like some people are the same person for like 20 years, and it's like, that's weird. But
Right.
yeah,
Thank God for
so
growth.
thank God for growth. I don't want to keep you. I know that you have a flight to cancel or delay.
I don't know what I'm doing next, so we're gonna figure it out.
I love that. You told me you're going to be in New York though
Yes.
soon.
So I will be in New York between March 9th through I'll probably be that whole week. So the shoot is from the 9th through the 12th, so I'll probably stay till like the 15th. And then
What
I
are you
might go,
shooting? Can you share?
um,
Actually,
sure.
don't. Okay,
I'll text it to you. How about that?
okay. Text it to me. Text it to me. Um, yeah, man. I This is what I would love to do before we get off. I would love to. Obviously, I hope we see each other in New York. Maybe we can get up with a couple other photographers. Like right now, I'm just in the community, people talking to each other, sharing ideas, like I feel like that's something that I'm really trying to get back into. Like a lot of what I was doing early in my career, like all my best friends are photographers. We would speak basically every single day, like that kind of thing. And I'm trying to build that again,
I've been
so
lucky enough that we actually have a great community here in LA.
yeah,
It's because we're all transports. We're all
yeah,
from New York. But maybe like twice or three times a month, people come over on a random Tuesday, all at my house. We come over here, we smoke, we work on treatments, we talk about previous jobs, we
love
look
it,
at shoots.
love
We
it,
yeah, it'd be like eight of us in here, just be
yeah.
chilling. Yep.
Next time I'm in LA, I hope that it coincides with one of those.
Oh,
We
for
used to
sure.
do that. We used to do that. Everybody would come over to my loft, and we had a thing called it's a stupid name. It's really don't judge me. I didn't come up with the name, but it was called the Handsome Man Photography Society. And then eventually, because there were women there, and like they're like, what the fuck? Like, and it was like, okay, now it's Handsome Person Photography Society. And none of us is particularly handsome, and not the guys anyway. But it was just a funny name. But like, yeah, it was that. It was that therapy. It was kind of like, People bring it talking about work. And sometimes people didn't bring over work, but that's fine. You're just talking about, your photographers want to talk about photography. It was very, very cool. It's good to have that community. I'm happy you do
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Because as you know, we go, I think for me specifically, I don't know about you, but it's easy for me to isolate myself and it's easy for me to think that I'm the only one going through what I'm going through. So when people share their stories, I'm like, oh, I've gone
Thousand
through
percent.
this.
I can't even agree more. My best friend Matt Salacuse, I was feeling down about myself. I don't know. I want to say like 2 weeks ago, and you know, he told me, he was like, "Look, this is some shit that's going on in my life." I was like, "Okay, I feel better." I mean,
Yeah.
not even like that, but it's like, you know, you can isolate yourself. Like photography is a very sort of like, um what's the word? Like, I mean, we're alone a lot. Like I'm in front of my computer all the fucking. It's me and my cat in front of, like working on images. You know what I mean? And we definitely need that support system.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm happy we could do shit like this. Maybe we'll do it again if you're
Oh,
not too annoyed.
sure, not at all. Next time I'll come up with some questions for you because again, you were one of the few people who did reach out, and I do appreciate that so much.
Yeah, man.
Because also, just to give you your props and your flowers too, because you were one of the first and one of the few Black people who I was like, I want to be like you. I remember you had key art when niggas wasn't shooting key art. It was just pretty much you and Kwaku
Yeah,
at that time specifically. I didn't even know what key art was. But I just remember you used to always use your flash, and I used to go to your website all the time. I used to always talk about you. I'm like,
that's
you're the
crazy.
one who kind of like resembles the work that I want to produce and I want to work on. So yeah, shout out
Thanks,
to you.
man.
Sir.
Yo, I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that. I look at your work like, dog, you're there. You're
I'm a
you're you're
product of you. I'm a product. Just know that.
see, now everybody's gonna stop watching. It's too much. It's too much mutual admiration society. Yo, man, no, but definitely respect like everything that you're doing. Like, absolutely, and thank you for the kind words, man. We're gonna speak definitely before you come to New York, but yeah, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
Definitely do it again for sure.
All right, brother. I'll talk.